Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your primetime news bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Kumarini Rajakaruna. As always, let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines tonight.
Electricity tariffs to be increased with effect from midnight. Measures taken to disperse a group of fishermen protesting in Chilau over fuel prices. A father of two died following a shooting. A protest organized by the JVP dispersed. And over 350 die in Honduras prison fire.
For the stories in detail now. An individual died from gunshot injuries during a demonstration against the fuel price hike in Chilau today. The police stated that 3 other individuals had sustained injuries in the incident.
A tense situation prevailed in Chilau over the past few days as fishermen took to the streets in protest against the latest fuel price hike. Security was beefed up in Chilau today following the continuing protests with the army, police and police special task force deployed in the area. However, fishermen in Chilau continued their protest against the fuel price hike once again this morning. A correspondent stated that the security forces took measures to prevent the demonstrators from advancing to the town from the Tadivella area. The demonstrators then attempted to enter the town from the beach instead of using the main road. The police fired tear gas in an attempt to disperse the demonstrators. In 2007 too, the price of fuel was increased. During that time, when we opposed it and demonstrated, they gave us a card. We cannot accept such a card again because this concession card disappeared in a few days. The fishermen don't have faith in it. We are calling for the earlier price. They tried to kill 5 people and 1 person was killed.
A protest campaign had been conducted in Chilau area this morning. So thereafter, the police and the other forces had been deployed to control the situation in the area. And it has been reported that the protesters conducted protest along with swords and other weapons. So however, at 12 o'clock noon, an incident occurred, and due to that incident, a person has been admitted to Chilau Hospital with gunshot injuries. In addition to that, another 3 persons have been admitted. So, however, 1 person has died due to injury, and the persons are being treated at Chilau Hospital. The police and the other forces have been deployed in the area in order to control the situation.
The body of the individual is currently lying at the Chilau Hospital. The deceased has been identified as Anthony Fernando, a fisherman from the Tadivella area. Anthony was a 35-year-old father of 2. Meanwhile, the police stated that the demonstrators had caused damage to the police superintendent's residence and the residence of the High Court judge. The demonstrators had also obstructed the railway line in the Alutwata area. The situation was brought back to normal with the intervention of the police special task force.
For more on the demonstrations that took place in Chilau, you can log on to our website. That's www.newsfirst.lk.
In similar news, tear gas was fired at a protest march organized by the Janata Vimukti Peramuna today against the latest fuel price hike. Tear gas had been fired when the protesters had attempted to continue their march disregarding police orders.
The protesters attempted to begin their march from opposite the Maligawata police station. The march had been planned to end in Colombo Fort. However, the police notified the demonstrators that they will not be permitted to carry out a march. Several Janata Vimukti Peramuna frontliners also participated in this protest. The demonstrators who held discussions with the police attempted to move forward. The demonstrators who held talks with the police for the second time could not reach an agreement and therefore attempted to move forward by removing the roadblocks set up by the police. The police then fired tear gas and water cannons in order to disperse the demonstrators. After the police dispersed the demonstrators, they reconvened down J.A. Milton Pereira Mawatha in the Maligawatha area before dispersing. Senior members of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna addressed those gathered at the protest.
We reiterate to the government, reduce the fuel prices which were increased, reduce the bus fares, reduce the electricity charges, provide relief to the people, or else we are asking the government to be prepared to go home. A fisherman was killed today, workers were killed. They are trying to bring these forces to kill the people with tear gas and batons in order to instill fear. But we, the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, are not afraid.
Various parties expressed their opposition to the increase in fuel prices.
විශේෂයෙන්ම අසාධාරණයට විරුද්ධව නැගී සිටින රටේ ජනතාවට විරෝධත්වය පළ කිරීමේ සාධාරණ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී අයිතියක් තිබෙනවා.
People in this country have a democratic right to stand against injustice. That is a fundamental right. In a short period of time, this is the second instance where a life has been claimed during a public protest. Roshan Chanaka sacrificed his life on behalf of the workers when the private sector pension scheme was brought forward. Owing to the short-sighted policies of the government and its despicable conduct, Anthony Fernando, a father of two who participated in the demonstration, died today. This government is trampling on the people's rights and suppressing the people in order to ensure its survival.
මොනම ක්‍රියාදාමයකින් හෝ රැකගැනීමේ ඒ නින්දිත අරමුණ හිතේ තබාගෙනයි අද මේ වර්තමාන ආණ්ඩුව රට පාලනය කරන්නේ.
Meanwhile, the Joint Alliance of the Opposition also expressed views on the fuel price hike at a media briefing today.
මේ වෙනකොට ලෝක වෙළඳ පොලේ තෙල් මිල ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම කිව්වොත් පසුගිය කාලය පුරාම ක්‍රමක්‍රමයෙන් අඩු වෙන යුගයක්.
This is a time where crude oil prices in the world market have been decreasing. Although world prices are reducing, this government on Sunday increased diesel prices by 40% and a bottle of kerosene by 50%, which is used by the poor. We need to clearly emphasize that this price increase was not due to an increase in world market prices. We have decided to come together and rally the people against this economic destruction and the situation in the country where injustice rules.
මේ ආර්ථික විනාශයට එරෙහිව මේ අවනීතිය මේ රටේ නීතිය බවට පත්වීමේ තත්ත්වයට විරුද්ධව මේ සියලු පක්ෂ එකතු කරගෙන ඒකාබද්ධව ජනතාව පෙළගසන්නට අපි තීන්දුව කරා.
මේ රටේ ජනතාවට අයිතියක් තියෙනවා. ලෝක පරිමාණවත්.
The people in this country have a right, a universal right, to get onto the streets and fight against rulers who carry out suppression instead of implementing the promises that have been given.
පාලකයන්ට විරුද්ධව පාරට ඇවිල්ලා වීදියට ඇවිල්ලා සටන් කරනවා. ඇත්තටම කියනවා නම් දැන් පක්ෂ නායකවරුන් රැස් වෙන්න ඉස්සර පක්ෂ නායකවරුන් ඉදිරියට එන්න ඉස්සර ජනතාව පාරට ගිහලා ඉවරයි.
The people have got onto the streets before the party leaders. People in the Gampaha district have already got onto the streets from Negombo to Chilao. The people have shown their anger. The people are facing a crisis situation, and those facing the most hardship owing to the kerosene price hike is the estate community.
දැන් ජනතාව විශාල අර්බුදයට මුහුණ දීගෙන සිටිනවා. මොකද මේ භූමිතල් වැඩිවීමෙන් විශාල දුකට අමාරුවට වැටලා තියෙන වතුකල ජනතාව.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa, who is in Singapore on a two-day official visit, met his Singaporean counterpart Tony Tan Keng Yam this morning. The meeting took place at the President's house.
A guard of honor was accorded to President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the occasion. Bilateral issues of common interest had been discussed during the meeting between the two state leaders. The President's media unit noted that the Singaporean President had expressed his satisfaction of the reconciliation program being carried out in Sri Lanka and also on the importance of focusing on the future. The Singaporean President had also agreed to request President Mahinda Rajapaksa to direct Singaporean investors to invest in Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, talks were held between President Mahinda Rajapaksa and Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. Prime Minister Lee Hsien had praised the development that Sri Lanka has achieved in a short span of time and said that Singapore was happy to have played a part in this process. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's Board of Investment and the Singapore Business Federation signed a memorandum of understanding today to promote investment relations between the two countries. Furthermore, Singapore has named a new orchid hybrid to mark the visit of President Mahinda Rajapaksa and First Lady Shriranthi Rajapaksa. The new orchid has been named Dendrobium Mahinda Shriranthi. The flower was introduced to the President by the Chief Executive Officer of the Singapore Botanical Gardens. Incidentally, it has taken 7 years to create the new orchid hybrid.
Electricity tariffs have also been increased with effect from midnight today. This is following the Public Utilities Commission deciding to add a fuel surcharge to electricity bills.